Greetings, my friends. This is Maerlande, returning with another set of turns of commentary for the spectacle of Perspicuity. Let's start with turn number 11. Turn number 11 is a pretty basic turn. I have some research happening. I'm working on my alteration. So it's going slowly, just started with a few magi freed up from action, but that gets it started. Something you'll note here, I'm using polypal mothers to search for magic sites. It's not a common thing, but there are a decent number of holy sites, and they tend to provide astral as the main gem income from them. Very worthwhile. So I always tend to make sure that I search holy, especially underwater. So there's no fighting going on. Let's take a look at movements. Movements is probably a good thing to look at first. I am sending my prophet and a merman priest over to province number 69, the Lovecraftian Sea. That's in preparation of another fort. I now have my capital and 2 additional forts up. Both forts have temples in them, so they can recruit polypal mothers. Let's take a look at recruitment. I'm doing a mother and 1 slave guardian. Pretty basic. In the other fort, I'm recruiting a mother and no other troops. And you'll see that all of my aquatic troops are moving towards my capital. Again, as I discussed before, this is in anticipation of doing full patrol on my capital. Now, what's happening here with Shognar is I'm hoping to get a chance to do some more expansion. So I've got him traveling towards province number 70, where I will do some expansion. I also am building my first additional underwater lab. That will let me recruit aboleths in the second lab besides my main. This group of troops is also heading for my capital for patrolling. Temporarily, I have an aboleth doing patrolling. It got to the point where when I finally woke up to my tax problem and the events that occurred to increase unrest, I just had to patrol with something, and all I had was the aboleth. I put everything I had available on him. Recruitment in there, I'm getting another mother. I think I mentioned before, I like to run 5 to 6 mothers per fort for this build. That provides a very solid amount of free spawn. It does slow down research and slows down site searching for a while, but it is possible to catch up eventually. Here on my one other land province I took, I hired 1 independent commander. He's just there to give me somebody there right now. There's not much point in doing anything else. So the turn's pretty basic. We've covered recruitment. It's just the basic getting some more mothers and some moving of some troops. Very little site searching going on. That will come very soon. And I think that is the summation of turn number 11. Since this was a short video, let's move on and do turn number 12 in the same video. Turn number 12 carries on. Not a heck of a lot of things happening in any great changes to previous. Lake of Amphibious Bats, some more patrolling, got rid of 10 more annoying little brigands. So we got unrest down to 62. So the tax at 50 plus the patrolling is getting it in hand. Now, I brought those extra high speed Tritons, move 19, they will patrol significantly better. But I'm not keeping that aboleth loaded up with my free spawn hanging around here. I've got him moving, hoping to grab some more land provinces in the areas where they haven't been taken. There's something we want to note here. This aboleth is my first death random. He's going to do manual searching to get a kickstart on death magic. Once I get a little bit of death income, I can go to remote searching. And in terms of other searching, he will do a decent amount of astral searching as on his way traveling about the underwater. And the primary searching I will be going for is under the Conjuration School of Magic. It is, just got to scroll down here a little bit, Voice of Tiamat. Voice of Tiamat finds all spells that are elemental sites. So that's the first 4. Fire, air, earth, and water. It's very cost effective when you give that a consideration. And in CBM, there's actually a significant number of air and fire sites underwater, which is a bit surprising, but there's underwater volcanoes and some other interesting sites. That can be really handy. It opens up the possibility of empowering something like a Mind Lord for cross-path forging. A classic would be Rune Smashers for astral mages that actually have hands like slave magic. A little more action happening now that we've freed up and got a lab here. I've got my first heroic Mind Lord doing a search. So he's going to do search, predominantly Astral's the big one, but might as well check for water while we're at it since he's got it. Pretty straightforward. And you can see all of these troops are moving towards being able to do some action from here at number 38. Now we talked very early about province number 64 and why it matters. Well, it's going to matter when my pretender arrives because I have intentions of using Hidden in Sand to diversify myself into good earth and good fire, plus give myself some powerful troops. Hidden in Snow is a very, very classic spell for Riley of all ages, and I always make good use of it. It gets you good earth magi, good death magi, and they actually have full slots, and that's very important. Hidden in Sand can also get you some additional astral magi, and astral magi with more slots are quite advantageous when it comes to communions. So there's not a tremendous amount. Let's cover recruitment in the Holy See, a Polypal Mother, and a bunch of slave guardians. That gets things going. Here in the Sunken Sea, we're recruiting a Polypal Mother and slave guardians. And back at home in my capital, recruiting an Aboleth and slave guardians. So I'm trying not to recruit too many Mind Lords at this point in time, saving my gold so I can fort everywhere possible. I have not started forting here or building a temple. Gold was a little bit short, largely due to my mistake with my capital. So they'll preach for a while. It's always good to have your candles growing. Something to note about the way Dominion spreads. High levels of white candles make more candles. So it's an awful lot easier to keep an area that has a good, tight enclave of Dominion than to try to grow Dominion in scattered locations. Once you get your Dominion started, other players have to work very hard to push it back down to their candles. So that's another reason why I'm focusing on this area around the island and my capital as places to get on land. Any way to create a good Dominion enclave. One thing with the map like this is you have to be exceptionally careful when it's all spread out like this that you don't get killed by a Dominion push. Now we don't have significant blood sacrificing nations here. I can't remember if Helheim can blood sacrifice at all, but it's something to really watch out for. And that's another reason why the Polypal Mothers are important. They're all holy too. They can't move. So really, they're going to do nothing but preach and do free spawn. But free spawn doesn't cost them an action. So they'll just preach. Eventually, they won't be able to preach any higher. But when you're preaching, a holy 2 with a temple can preach up to level 3. So we're still gaining on the preaching. And I think that's all of the action that's really coming about. We're going to wait. We're going to start some more forts here right away in the next few turns. And I'm going to call this session over. Goodbye, my friends. I hope to see you in game.